It's kind of a side project for the first few years, and so currently at
Mhm.
about 300K a month. I've built this entirely on the back of SEO. We started off in just Melbourne doing just house cleaning. Then we expanded into a second service, end of lease cleaning. And then from there, we further expanded into 8 cities. And then
Right.
we expanded into the top 30 locations around the country. And from there, we realized we really couldn't handle operations. So we contracted it back to our current top 10 cities that we operate in Australia.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Service Business Show. Today, we have Rocky from Caliber Cleaning. Welcome, Rocky.
Hey, Jing, great to be here.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, having a good day. My wife takes Fridays off, so I tend to take the Friday off with her. So this is a nice, relaxing Friday for me.
Right. Okay, so I know we've talked briefly previously, during the pre-recording chat, but I think it will be very helpful for you to showcase your business and also yourself to the audience. Why don't you give us a quick intro of who are you and then what do you do at Caliber Cleaning?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Rocky. I'm based in Melbourne, in Australia. I own a house cleaning company called Caliber Cleaning. I started it in 2015 when I was 22 years old, I think. So this is our ninth year in operations. And we started off in just Melbourne doing just house cleaning. Then we expanded into a second service, end of lease cleaning. If you're from other areas, it might be called an exit clean or a vacate clean or a move out clean, different terms of similar type of service. So, and then from there, we further expanded into 8 cities, 8 of the larger cities across the country in Australia. And then
Right.
from the 8, around 12 months ago, so that'd be about mid to late 2023, we expanded into the top 30 locations around the country. And from there, we have then contracted back. We realized we really couldn't handle operations wise of 30 separate supply and demand markets all at the same time. So we've contracted it back to our current top 10 cities that we operate in Australia.
Wow.
That's a high level
That's a
overview of
lot
who
of
we are now.
that's pretty impressive. In a very short period of time, you expanded very quickly. And when you realize when it's not the right move, you also make decision very quickly to kind of shrink it down. So what gives you that realization when the business expanded too quickly and you realize it might not work at that point of time?
Yeah, I think one of my strengths, I think, which is also equally a weakness, is the ability to make decisions fairly quickly. And so the decision to expand from 8 to 30 happened pretty quickly. And our marketing strategy was all through SEO with our website. So that in terms of how we expanded, it was simply creating new landing pages and then doing the SEO side of things, of building backlinks, of doing content. Then we fairly quickly started getting traffic and leads for all of these new locations. On the back end of it, the strategy was, do we get customers first or do we get cleaning teams first, chicken or the egg? And I decided on getting customers first. Once we start to see which of
Mhm.
these different cities were building traction first, then we would go and get cleaning teams from there. That was
I
the theory. That
see.
was the strategy at the start. But in reality, it was a lot harder than that. These 20 new locations that we launched in after our original 8, these are more smaller towns in the country. So I think, if you might not be
Right.
familiar, these would be Wagga Wagga, Cairns. Where else are we? Toowoomba. Some of these smaller towns that might have a population of 100,000, 150,000 people. And the ability that we
Right.
were really accustomed to the larger cities where we could post a job ad for cleaners and we'd get 100 applications within a day, 2 days. However, with these small towns, it was a lot more difficult. Didn't anticipate that, didn't plan for it. And so after trying to hire cleaners with our small in-house recruitment team for about 6 months, we realized, you know what, about 90% of the country's population are in the top 5 cities. And so why are we spreading ourselves so
Yeah.
thin for all of these additional towns, different additional locations where our core markets are bringing in the majority of the revenue? And that's where we decided, okay, let's cut, let's contract back. We can always expand again further down the line and focus on where our strengths are.
Right. Wow. So when you're first expanding from 8 cities to 30 cities, did you try to just like launch it in all those locations and start running SEO and see how? Or you try to did it, let's say this week we do five, next week we do another five, like
No, launched it
progressively.
all in one go. Launched all the landing pages because I thought, if you know how SEO works, you're not going to get a flood of traffic from the next day. It starts to, the rankings come
Yeah.
slowly. The pages need to be indexed. The rankings start to climb slowly. We didn't build too many backlinks to those new locations, so going a bit technical here, but rather it was relying on the site's overall domain authority. So we knew that our domain has quite a bit of weight to it. And in these smaller towns,
Hmm.
the competition for SEO, not quite as great as the larger cities. So I kind of had a confident feeling that we would get there. And so
Yeah.
it was a slow climb rather than a flood of customers overnight.
Right. Right. So we all know SEO is a long-term game, right? But for you to build a business in a very sustainable way, you must have other marketing channel that you utilize. So how do you normally think about your marketing strategy, also combining with on the brand side?
Yeah, this might be funny. We are solely SEO. We have built, well, I've built this entire company entirely on the back of SEO. It's our one and only marketing channel. I've dabbled with Google Ads in the past, played around with Facebook ads currently as well as in the past, but just through SEO, that's where all of our customers, all of our leads, all of our traffic, all of our customers come from. And we get a small portion of our new customers that come from word of mouth as well. But SEO is our marketing channel.
That's insane. Are you an SEO master or something? Did you get a degree in marketing?
No,
Is that
not
how
at
you
all.
learn?
No. I'm just self-taught, just read. I think the entire business, everything that I do, everything we do is all self-taught. And when I say self-taught, I mean
Yeah.
just reading articles online. And then if you read enough articles, then you know quite a bit. And then it's just a matter of applying what you learn. So that's how I operate, and that also applies to our marketing strategy, which is SEO. So a bit more background about that. When I first launched the company back in 2015, I'd heard of SEO. I'd known about it, and I knew that no matter what we attempt, we always wanted to have SEO as our long-term game. But I didn't know anything back then, and so I'd use agencies, local Australian Melbourne agencies. Long story short, these agencies didn't do very much. And I'd gone through three
Right.
separate agencies over the first 3 or 4 years, spending a lot of money, a lot of time,
Yeah.
and really getting no results. And that's when I made the decision to, okay, I've got to learn it myself. So I learned web development, I learned SEO, applied it, and then that's when our traffic really started to climb. And it's been climbing ever since. And so there's a direct correlation that we see from our traffic from SEO through to new leads, through to new customers. So it's been working very well for us.
Hmm. You know, by now I've probably spoken to, I think, more than 100 home services companies. I think you're one of those ones who are well read comparing with a lot of business owners. A lot of business owners are constantly thinking about what service I need to launch, what kind of pricing point should I go for. But even our last conversation, you talk about you learn podcasts and a lot of product management stuff. And I was reading some of your articles. You started this whole business from a Reddit post, right? Like how to
Yeah,
start
I
a
did.
cleaning company. Yeah, so it seems like you're constantly absorbing new information. So can you kind of walk me through this? Like, how did you where's this coming from, right? You're constantly getting new information versus you actually don't need that much to run a cleaning company, right?
Ooh, that's a interesting statement that you don't need that much information to run a cleaning company. I think I'll agree and disagree at the same time. I think the way I currently look at
Okay.
business, by the way, my views on business are updating constantly with every new book I read,
Yeah.
with every new podcast I listen to, always updating my current stance on how I view things. So my current view is a cleaning company is just like every other company, which means you need marketing, you need sales, you need product, you need customer service, you need finance, all the main departments of running a company. And the way I view it
Yeah.
is I have limited skill sets and I need to get our minimum departments off the ground. And I bootstrapped the whole thing,
Hmm.
so there was no, and also I knew nothing back then, so I had to learn everything as I went. And it was learning the minimum amount of how to get customers and then offload that to someone else. And then I learned how to sell, and then I hired a sales team. And then, okay, now we have sales. How do I hire cleaners? I did the hiring at the start. Now I've got a recruitment team. And it's been an ongoing process of rinse and repeat of learning as much as I can about or the minimum required amount for each skill, and then hiring for that and creating
Hmm.
departments for that internally. Well, at least that's how I've run it so far. And so I would say you do need to
Very
know a lot.
interesting. But okay, but since you learn so much from, all these resources, but what about what's the latest thing that you've learned and apply in business where you find it very helpful?
Yeah, my current phase of learning has mostly been around management and leadership. And so for a bit of context, we hire or I hire majority of our operations backend team from the Philippines, all offshore from the Philippines.
Mhm.
And so currently the team has about 22 people. So all of our customer service, our sales, our accounts team, our recruitment team, all based in the Philippines. Which
Right.
means 99% of the day to day of running the company is all done by an overseas team. And I'm the only person based in Australia that is caliber cleaning. And so the challenge that I've faced ever since I started hiring, which has been a few years ago, up until now, as the teams continue to grow, has been how do I get things done through other people? And it's not something that has come naturally to me in terms of management, which means continually trying to upskill. And so most of the content I read and listen to, most of my thinking most days, most of my calendar, if you look at my calendar, it's mostly one-on-ones and team meetings, which is how do I get what I want to do through other people at this current phase of this company.
Mm, mm. And so far, what have you tried? It worked, and what has not worked out as what you wanted?
I think what I can tell you what doesn't work, which is just about everything that comes to me organically through my own ideas of how to work with others. I think I got to from 0 to 1 all on my own, and then the in terms of the separate stages of the company has been trying to hire people, hire well, and so learning how to interview, and then currently the size of the team has been about that 20 to 25 people for about 12 months now. What I
Mm,
currently do is, look, I don't want to try and teach you or teach anyone because what I do doesn't really work. So from one day it's lots and lots of one-on-ones and trying my best to build empathy with my direct reports, with the team that's actually doing the work, understanding their challenges, understanding their needs, building a work environment that allows them to do their best work, and while trying my best to remove away any stress and headaches. And then at the same time, when work doesn't get done, then I'll like, get frustrated, annoyed, and start telling people what to do. And so I go back and forth, and I don't have the right answer right now. So that's my current journey of learning.
do you believe people who build company from 0 to 1 can grow to the person who can take the company from 1 to 10?
Sure, you've seen the famous stories of Zuckerberg and Bezos. I'm sure there are many others that have done it. But then you also see stories of people that say, I know where my strengths are. It's say 0 to 1, or it's 1 to 10, or it's running companies of 1,000 people. And I think these people have something really good where they understand where A, their strengths lie, as well as B, what they enjoy. I think when you're able to combine those two things, then you're in a really good position. And I'm still exploring. I don't know what I'm good at because everything I do every day seems to be a new problem, a new challenge that I haven't faced before. And I'm yet to not enjoy it, but I'm definitely not good at it. So that's my poor answer to your question.
Well, we know one thing that you're good at is definitely SEO. I think I talk about this many times now. If you see any successful home services business, the owners are probably the mastermind behind marketing and brand. They are very good at and very hands-on in all the performance channels and mostly SEO and SEM. I rarely see companies make millions from just Facebook ads. It's not the right channel for this kind of services, but Google Ads it is. But given that, there's so many new technologies and then new channels coming up, do you think this will change?
In terms of the marketing channels,
Acquisition channel. Yeah.
I think when you give someone a hammer, then they're looking for nails. And so I think so far up until now, my lens on how I view business has always been with the SEO glasses. And so everything I look at is how do I grow traffic? How do I build a business with organic traffic? Which is to say, I don't know. What I will tell you this is the upside of getting good at SEO is you get quote unquote free traffic. But the downside of it is that when Google's algorithms update, you can lose all it overnight. And so we have experienced ups and downs with our traffic. That's an immense cause of stress. And so as a result of
Yeah.
that, we are now trying to diversify our marketing channels away from just SEO. SEO will always, I think, always be a part of the game plan, but now exploring other channels, primarily looking at Facebook and Meta ads. We have explored Google ads in the past, but we saw that whether we did it poorly, whether we did it incorrectly, I can't say, but our cost per click and our cost of acquisition was far too high. And so rather than going back to Google, trying to explore Facebook at the moment, but then that's coming back to a different problem is we are running Facebook ads at the moment. The cost of leads are relatively low,
Mm.
relatively speaking.
Mm.
But then now it's can we convert those leads? And then okay, actually we've got problems with our sales team, we've got problems with following up with our leads, we've got problems kind of seems to be problems everywhere. And so right now, the current phase of the business, a lot of my time is spent with our sales team, doing a lot of sales training, sales coaching, making sure we are doing all the basics every single day, doing it consistently so that I can kind of ramp up our spend, our daily spend with Facebook ads so we can diversify our marketing channels.
Right. So, do you guys do more outbound sales or inbound sales?
All inbound. So currently,
All
and how it's
inbounds.
been from
Right.
day one, we get traffic to one of our many landing pages, and then leads
Right.
will either call us, they might leave us a message, or they might fill in our quote form. And then if they fill in our quote form, then we have a sales team that'll call up and try to help these leads become a customer.
Gotcha. Have you thought about hiring those like AI call support help you to do sales?
Oh, I love the idea. I watch a lot of the day-to-day new updates and news that comes out in the AI world. I think this is my guess. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I think the current state of the AI tooling for this space is not quite there yet. I think it's a bit obvious that it's AI. It's a bit obviously robotic. I've heard a stat that says the current pace of AI evolution is growing at about a doubling every 6 months. So in 6 months' time, it'll get twice as
Yeah.
good as it is today. So I am watching that space. I think anything that can help to lower costs is something that piques my interest.
Yeah, I will send it to you after our conversation. I know a few, AI voice companies who are specialized in doing these sales, inbound sales calls. I'll send it to you. They're not cheap, but at the same time, they work for big MNCs, so the quality is there. I've seen a few demos live, and then that was insane. Like,
And they're good.
I remember this one time. Yeah, there's the one time we had a meeting, we were in the middle of meeting with an investor, and the investor got a call and then say, "Hey, sorry, I'm in a meeting." And then this thing just keep talking and it feels like a real person, and then the investor is, "Sorry, I really have to hang up." And then but he didn't realize it's not human, right? And
Interesting.
he kept
Well, there you go.
apologizing to AI. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
So
that's something that I change my mind on right now. Is maybe we are ready for AI to take over some of our roles.
I'll send you a few materials after this conversation. But it's interesting you talk about costs. What's so if we look at your revenue and cost structure, right? Let me know if you don't want to share this. So 9 years, um, you're definitely in seven figures, right? Revenue,
I
or even eight
mean,
figures.
so at the moment we do about 300,000 a month in revenue. So, well, that'd be annually about 3.5, 3.6.
Wow.
But if I were to map out our actual revenue over the last 9 years, it's been basically nothing. It's kind of a side hobby, a side project for the first few years. I quit my full-time job in at the end of 2018 to go full-time into the cleaning company. And then there was COVID, and so revenue was cut by about 90% overnight because of some
Right.
restrictive lockdowns in Melbourne. And we've only really started to see growth post-COVID lockdowns within Australia, which is about end of 21. So it's about 2.5 years that we've only started to see our revenue grow. And so currently at about 300K a month, Australian dollars.
I see. I see. That's a very sizable business, but this is something I've also heard, not just in Australia, but in Singapore, in Europe as well. After the lockdown, it seems like people are more willing to outsource household chores before. Have you ever done any research on this? Why do you think consumers' behavior has changed? Even if the labor cost has increased, the price of cleaning has increased.
I'm going to give a bad answer. I have no idea. I have no clue. There are lots and lots of things that I have no idea, and I don't pretend to know. I can tell you that post lockdown, it seemed to be really easy to book customers. We had a real boom just from what we saw in our leads and our booking conversions. And if I had to guess, there was a great demand to get out of the house from a long period of lockdowns. And there was also an influx of cash. The Australian government was very generous over the COVID period. So if everyone's rich and also wants to get out of the house, then I think it makes sense to outsource some of these simple, mundane household tasks like getting your house cleaned, getting someone to mow your lawn. And
Hmm.
in terms of just seeing trends, we are seeing a slight downturn in demand for house cleaning, just us internally within Caliber Cleaning. There's still traffic, there's still leads overall, but the desire for a regular cleaner seems to have a slight decrease from that post-COVID 2021 into 22 period.
I see. What's the most popular service that you guys have right now?
We offer two service types, which is house cleaning, which comes in two forms. You can get a one-time, one-off clean or a regular cleaner. And there are different reasons, different customers that will choose the different services. And our second
Yeah.
service is an end of lease clean. The most popular, actually, I can tell you, it's a roughly, and it's all based on our SEO. So if our end of lease pages do really well, then we get more end of lease cleans. And we roughly do, in terms of new bookings, a 50-50 split in terms of house cleans to end of lease cleans. And for
Wow.
house cleaning, and this is where we're seeing that slight decrease for the desire for a regular cleaner. It was quite a bit higher, say 12 months ago, even 6 months ago. It's starting to dip down a little bit now, but there are certainly still many, many customers throughout Australia that are looking for someone to come into your home and get a cleaner every week, every fortnight, and take away that chore from the household.
Hmm. Hmm. Do you think it's because nowadays people travel more, or like they're just looking at, budget, or more budget conscious, only when they need it they will hire an ad hoc spring cleaner?
I think there's a lot of conflicting messaging that I see. Say, I don't really watch the news, but if I ever do see the headlines, there's always a constant messaging of the cost of living crisis and inflation and
Mm,
wages stagnation, and so it seems quite dire. But then, in terms of our actual day to day, there's still demand for house cleaning, for people to come into your home regularly for a cleaner. So I think there's some challenges with getting costs and day-to-day cost of living. But the way I look at it is we're not looking to be $1 billion company and we're not looking to be $100 million
mm.
company. And so that means we don't need 100,000 customers. We actually only need far fewer customers than that to build a really nice big business that I'm really happy with. And Australia is a
Gotcha,
perfect
gotcha.
market for that.
I see. I see. I think there was a slight delay. That's why we talk over each other a little bit, but don't worry, I'll cut it out. Um, that's very interesting. So now, when you have so much demand, do you have issue on the supply side now?
With our original core locations, not so much because we've been hiring and building our team of cleaners over many years. Over when did I launch in out of Melbourne? Maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So we've been recruiting and
Right.
building our base of cleaners in the original 8 locations for quite a while. The challenge of when we expanded to 30 locations, that was really difficult. But now we're back to our original locations, which are still, if you just Google search top cities in Australia by population, that's where we operate. And we're quite steady in our supply and demand per city.
Do you have some sort of indicator that tells you that, okay, now we have oversupply or we have more demand, things like this? How do you know? Both sides are quite balanced.
I wish I had a good answer. I don't. We are, well, when I say we, every time I say we, I actually mean me. I'm really bad at tracking numbers. I'm really bad at data. I'm really bad at reporting. I'm really bad at many, many things in this business. And so a lot of my decision making is just like gut feel and shooting from the hip. And so do I know the current state of supply and demand per city? No, no idea. If when I do want to make decisions, I'll do like ad hoc analysis and look at how many cleaners we have, how long does it take for us
Right.
to assign a new job, how many cleaners are actually active and messaging us back and forth, because we have a lot of cleaners that we have worked with in the past, but they're no longer so active anymore, or perhaps they've moved on to other work, or a whole host of various reasons. But to answer your original question, no idea. We don't know.
Everything's based on gut feeling, but you have a pretty good gut feeling, it feels like, so far in the past 9 years. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to manage this $300,000 revenue company, per month. So, in terms of hiring side, do you always hire people and put them on your payroll, or you also have, let's say, floaters, pay them on hourly basis?
These are our cleaners.
Mm-hmm.
Our cleaners are all subcontractors. So
I
in
see.
Australia,
So,
you have employees, and then the
yeah.
alternative is subcontractors. We call them subbies. And internally, they are our cleaning partners. But in terms of the legal status, we only work with subcontractors.
Gotcha, gotcha. So they are responsible for the quality, and then they're also responsible for, let's say, cleaning tools and retention of the clients, all of that, right?
Yep, exactly right. So they come fully loaded with experience. They come with typically they own their own cleaning company already, and our pitch to them is often you're already an expert cleaner with your own cleaning company. We want to help you fill out your schedule. If you want to build your business, hire more cleaners under your own brand, we'll supply you with the jobs, high quality customers. You don't need to worry about invoicing, marketing, sales, customer service. We take care of all of that. The jobs come for free, and then obviously we take our cut from the job, and that's how our partnership works.
So how do you deal with undercutting issues?
What do you mean by undercutting?
Like, let's say one of your cleaning partners that will take a client out of the platform and then just start working with them, without notifying you, and then collect payment from the clients as well.
Yeah, it's happened in the past, and that it. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I bet it happens all the time. But in terms of cases where we found out, we let go of that cleaning team immediately, and we take back all of their customers, and there's a zero tolerance policy around that. However, we also see a few interesting things. The first thing is our customers sometimes they'll tell us that, hey, this cleaner that's come to my home, they're trying to engage me directly, and they'll let us know. And in those instances, we let go of that cleaning team immediately. Sometimes our cleaners will tell us, hey, this customer's trying to engage with them directly, and they are honest with us, and we know about it through our cleaners. And then in those cases, we treat that differently as well. And I think where the way we view it is if we work really well with our cleaners, meaning we build a lot of trust, we treat our cleaners really, really well, we pay on time, we answer all their questions kind of in real time, and we create an environment where high trust is built. And some of our cleaners have been working with us for
Mm.
many, many years. Then it kind of mitigates that problem. I don't think it mitigates it entirely, but the cleaners that we do work with are, are really good, really, really good.
That's very interesting because a lot of time when I talk to marketplaces, in a home services space, this is one of their biggest issue. And then because of this, on the customer retention front, it's not as good as how they would like it to be. And so eventually the, customer lifetime value versus the customer acquisition costs cancel each other out and they're basically not making any money, right? But
I was gonna agree with you. Yes, if you're a marketplace, because I think if you're a marketplace, you have you have low relationship with your customers, and you definitely have little relationship with your supply side of cleaners. And so the way that we view it is we want to have really deep relationships with every single cleaner that works with us, really lengthy onboarding process. We have quite a large in-house team that all their job is every day is to help our cleaning teams assigning jobs, answering their questions, picking up the phone 7 days a week, quite long opening hours. And so through that, it allows us to build that relationship, which then means those cleaning teams, they view us quite highly. We're not just a platform, but rather a partner. Well, I hope
mm,
they think of us as a partner because I think of them as a partner.
I see. I see. So how do you can you walk me through your let's say tomorrow I want to sign up, to be a cleaner on your platform. How long does it take for me to get fully onboarded?
Ooh, I don't know anymore. I haven't done the recruitment in a long time. I'll have to ask my recruitment team. I think actually anything I say I'll be making up. I don't know. Probably a few days.
Okay. And then do you guys also do training at all?
No, we don't do any training. That's one of our biggest problems. We face many, many problems, but in terms of our big problems, one of it is consistency of cleaning quality. Through one of the challenges, or one of the many challenges of working with just subcontractors, is the difference in quality with each and every team. And so we work with about 200 or 300 cleaners around the country. And without a training program or training structure in place, yeah, our quality differs. Some customers will get exceptional quality, and some customers get, sad to say, a poor experience. So that's one of the big
Yeah.
problems that's always in the back of my mind. How do we mitigate that? And one of the things that we're looking into now, in fact, we started it late last year. I actually lied. We're not 100% subcontractors. We've just started the last few months of bringing cleaners in house, and so we're testing and experimenting with a hybrid model. Can we have some of our core cleaning teams as employees, and then have a backbench of subcontractors that we work with? And unsure what the end result of that will look like. Maybe it's a 70-30 split of employee to contractor, but the quality and lack of training for contractors, that's been on the back of my mind for many years.
I mean, when you run a business like this, you're constantly like the offline experience and the quality is what everyone have to deal with, right? Because eventually people hire you to get their home clean. So even if you are very efficient online, but eventually the job to be done is clean my home. And that part, it's something that you rely on someone else to do, and that person does not show up to every single house. So it's impossible to make sure every single person's quality is standardized. It's easy when you have 10 people, 20 people. Now you're operating in multiple cities and then dealing with different kind of persona, right? It's really difficult to standardize it. So I'm curious, you talk about all these challenges that you face, right? Let's say
Yeah,
tomorrow you have a magic wand. You can pick that one thing and it will be solved.
yeah.
Okay, like immediately. What would it be?
First answer that comes to mind is quality of clean. I think if you solve that, if you can deliver a exceptional cleaning experience every single time with confidence, I think everything else flows on from that. Everything else is easy. Then your retention, your churn goes to zero. In fact, you have negative churn because your word of mouth starts growing exponentially, and then you no longer need to pay for marketing channels and paying for leads because your word of mouth is growing faster and exponentially, and so everything else just becomes easier as a result of actually having a quality product, or in this case, a quality service. So I think we've made big strides on our quality. When so we actually saw like kind of the floodgates open when our SEO started kicking in. We started getting a lot of traffic, and I said to my team, let's just hire every cleaner we can get and service every customer that's coming our way. And our Google reviews went from, I think we had an average rating of 4.9 back then, and it dropped to like a 4.1. That's nuts. But
Oh
the
my
customers kept
goodness.
coming, and we were doing refunds all the time. We were doing recleans all the time. Customers were unhappy, but I said, screw it, let's keep growing, and we'll figure out quality along the way. Um, and probably not the best decision at the time, probably not the best decision now, but revisiting that's how we handle quality, and we've made a lot of changes how we work with our contractors, so that quality piece has increased a lot. How we onboard cleaners, how we manage our cleaning teams has improved drastically, really over the last 6 to 9 months. And so our Google ratings are back up, but more importantly, customer satisfaction, customer experience has improved. Refunds are far lower, churn's lower as a result of that key piece, quality. It wasn't that bad for us, but yeah, refunds were sky high. We kept customers because it wasn't a 10-minute onboarding. We still had steps in place, but it went from when I did everything on my own. The company was just me, so I met with every single cleaner in person, called their references, every single one, wrote the job ad, did all the interviewing. I did everything end to end myself. And I think as a result of that, the quality was naturally high. But then once we started
I see.
hiring more and more cleaners, I stopped hiring myself. I hired recruiters to do the hiring, but I didn't train them. I just said, start hiring. And so there were no processes in place. They all made it up as they went. I didn't teach them anything I knew because I thought, if I am self-taught, then you can also self-teach and figure it out. But not quite how employees work. So that's a lesson I've learned. And as a result of that, we were bringing in some good cleaners, but a lot of awful cleaners as well.
Yeah, ultimately, this is not a sexy job. When people apply for a cleaning job, they just want to earn some fast cash, and hopefully, that will be enough for them to get by, right? So a lot of times people are not, when they apply for this job, the willingness to actually do it is not as high as, let's say, a white collar admin job in an office. So the people filtering part is really, even if you have process to train other people, but the ability to spot the right talent for this particular job. I still could not figure out a perfect SOP for this. Even back then, at Helpling, we're interviewing hundreds and hundreds of cleaners a day. And then I realized I need to find recruiters who can also spot these people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
Yep.
it does not work. There's no real You can ask the same question, but if someone's people's person versus someone who's just machine going through the process, the two different kind of recruiters getting you very different kind of candidates. That's how I saw. That's kind of results I saw. Is that the same on your side?
Yeah, definitely agree. And one of the hard parts with hiring cleaners in Australia is cleaning, as you said, it's not a sexy job, and typically, not always, but typically, it's lower income people that might not have gone to tertiary education are looking for easier, lower paying jobs. And in Australia, we have a very diverse demographic. Lots of immigrants from all around the world have come to Australia, and a lot of these people will get cleaning jobs. They might be the world's best cleaner, but when their English is not very good, it's hard for us as a recruitment function to determine, are you a good cleaner when you can't communicate that you're good. And so that's a challenge for us that we don't really have an answer for.
Hmm. Interesting. That's like it's like I've heard of this from one of the end consumer, and then she was saying that I want the toilet to be clean. My husband wants the bed sheet to be changed. My daughter wants all her toys to be organized, and my mom wants the cleaner to use minimum amount of electricity and water to clean the house. And then when I saw
Yeah.
that comment, and then I realized, oh wow, what I need to train is not really about cleaning. It's about communication. It's about the optics that you can deliver in the house because ultimately you're trying to satisfy a household need, right?
Hmm.
And that was the first time in my life back then was like, wow, we're not just doing cleaning. it's it's not that simple. So how do you train your employees to follow communication guidelines to make sure they're always understands the client's expectation?
I got really lucky. The employees that I've hired in terms of our first batch of employees, they were originally subcontractors, and they happened to be one of my best teams. And so I pitched them, would you like to start on this new pilot program where we want to bring our cleaning service in-house, to which they said yes. So I didn't need to train them. And every new employee cleaner we've hired under them, and then they trained the new cleaners. But then what we've also been learning over the last few months is you could be a good cleaner yourself, but doesn't mean you're a good teacher. And so teaching someone who's also, say, an international student that just wants to make a bit more cash, who doesn't care about the customer experience, that doesn't care about going the extra mile, that doesn't care about all the little details, that turns out to be really, really hard. And so that's been some lessons as we've brought in-house and doing the training and doing the actual hiring of non-qualified cleaners and doing that over the last few months. And so what we're finding is it doesn't matter if you know how to clean, we can teach you how to clean. But if you have a positive attitude and a good work ethic, then that's kind of the only two criteria required for what can become a really fantastic in-house employee cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of the conclusion that I reached back then at HealthLink. Um, I think you're spot on those. So before we wrap up, is there any key takeaways you want the audience to have from your experience?
Hmm. I think if I were to give any unsolicited advice, it would be I think anyone can do whatever they want. Like if you have a goal, you can go get it. You just got to understand what the price is and then go pay that price. And what I mean by that is for myself, when I think about what I want to achieve, it's I want to build the next steps is to build a $10 million company and really trying to reverse engineer what's the price I need to pay, which means who do I need to hire? What strategies do I need to put in place? How do I manage my team? And then go do those things. And that's a lesson that I try to teach my team. Um, and I think we can achieve our goals if we understand that concept.
Gotcha. That's a very ambitious goal. I hope you achieve it next year.
I hope so too. I
it's not
certainly hope
rocket
so.
it's not rocket science as you have seen it, right? And you just need the right people, technology. These three things. It's the playbook. to to scale a cleaning company. Initially, just a smart owner, 0 to 1. But once you're ready to scale, it's people, process, and technology. These 2 things. That's it.
Yeah, I've maxed out myself. I'm too lazy. So I'm actually incredibly lazy and I don't really want to work that hard. So it's a constant battle of how do I actually achieve some goals if I don't want to work hard? Like knowing that there's a price to pay, but I don't want to pay it. So how can I still circumvent my own challenges and weaknesses and still achieve? So I think actually, you know what? We spoke earlier last week and you mentioned high interns. That's all I've been thinking about all week. How can I go get some really smart interns? So maybe I'll take
Yeah,
it offline with
we
you.
can take Yeah, we can take this offline. Okay. Thank you so much, Rocky, for this episode. I think that was very fun conversation to have with you, and I really enjoyed this conversation. And I thank you so much for sharing the whole experience in such a candid, transparent way. So, thank you.
Thanks, Jinjing. Thanks for having me. Really, really enjoyed it.